it's best ever period in athletics. In the 70s, you had a period with Olympic gold, Olympic silver, but in terms of male athletics, it took a while before top male sprinters emerged. What was the reason it took that period while there was the emergence of a lot of top female sprinters in terms of top male sprinters to dominate the world? After your period, there was something of a gap. What accounted for that gap and what caused that gap to end so that now we have Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, etc.?
I think we always had good sprinters. The thing was we never won medals, but we were in a lot of finals. If you look back at the history of the Olympics, we were in a lot of finals. For example, in Montreal, we had two guys. I wasn't the only one in the final. And what is happening now is something that maybe could have happened before, but nothing happens before its time. I think the competition among ourselves has produced number one athletes. Usain was a quarter miler. He had to battle with Jermaine Gonzalez in high school. So that rivalry was there, and there are a lot of rivalries within the school system. We are at the top now, but like everything else, the world spins. One day we may not be the top athletes in all the sprint events. It's nature, it's life. But for anyone to knock us off, they're going to have to go much faster, be more ready to take that leadership role. And we're not taking it for granted. And I think when you look at our high school system, we're still producing a lot of athletes, but we have numbers. When you come to a development meet, you'll find over 100 athletes running in the sprints. By the time you get to the 800, you get 16 athletes, if that many. So if you have so many people sprinting, you're going to get the cream of the crop. And with the coaching system that we have here, we are at a level now where we can produce elite and world-class athletes. We still want our athletes to travel to the US to take the opportunities that are given to them to achieve an education, because not everyone will become a number one athlete, but a lot of athletes can contribute to various university programs which will enhance the program, will give them the opportunity also of achieving their academic goals. And that has been something that we have been fortunate in the past to be able to achieve. The US system has helped a lot of our athletes, not just track rise, but to be what they normally would not be had they stayed in Jamaica, because the education opportunity does play a major role in life after track and field. So we still encourage, in fact, I hope that they still continue to do so. If anyone wants to come back after they finish their university degrees, it's fine. But one option is not the only way. Two options. You can stay here if you wish, but you can also go to the US and utilize the opportunities that are presented to you, because they're still doing very well with our athletes and with their athletes.
Jamaica talent search net seems as though not shall escape. Once you have talent, you are discovered in Jamaica. Many countries with populations larger than Jamaica or in par with Jamaica are not able to capture that talent. What is it about the Jamaica system that makes it such a perfect system, catching all the talent as opposed to hit and miss in some other countries?
I think tradition has helped a lot. We have a history to look back on. So athletes are motivated. They want to be the next Usain Bolt. So in the next 10 years, we're going to produce some really good athletes. But most of all, in every aspect of our daily activity, there's something that involves running. If you have a church function, a church, Sunday school, picnic, you do run. There's always a race. I was fortunate too that my father was a policeman, and when they had a police sport, there was a race for policemen children. So in every area, you find kids running as young as 5, 6, and they do it for fun. I was at my niece's daughter, she's 4, and last year I went to a sports day, and I saw 2 little girls went by themselves, and they were demonstrating. One was demonstrating to the other one how she should start, and she knew exactly what to do at 5 years old because of observation, interaction with maybe a coach or a PE teacher. So at a very early age, the fundamentals, the groundwork, everyone has it.
How does it feel to be in a country that is known for sprinting, and we have the great center Usain Bolt here breaking all these world records? You were like the foundation of Jamaican sprinting and being one of the first. How does that feel, being though that you're the top of the chain that developed, all these great athletes?
It's a good feeling knowing that we are progressing. I had the record for quite a while in the 200, and I remember long ago I said, look, I want someone to break it, because if they're able to break it, that means they're able to get to the top. But it took a while, and I'm very happy that it happened, because Usain Bolt just made it what it should be. The gap was there, so you say, okay, I ran 19.8 in 1971, and it took so many years. In between, things were happening, but it just never happened. But suddenly it happened, and he goes way ahead of 19.8. But if you add up the years and you look at it logically, that as we progress steadily, it would have happened by now.
You spoke on athletes going to the U.S. and in the college system there. That kind of is contrary to what we talked to Stephen Francis yesterday, and he kind of thought the reason Jamaicans really started improving was because they started staying at home. Dr. Warren Blake kind of seemed to be leaning that way as well. Would you rather them go to the U.S. because of the education, or do you feel both can work? Or like, if an athlete, a young athlete now, like maybe Zarnell Hughes or Michael O'Hara, asked your advice, like what would you tell them? I guess
it's the individual, it's the coaching, and it's the environment. I didn't have a problem because once I went to school, I knew what my objectives were. I think one of the issues that we have here in Jamaica, which I am not too happy about, is when we try to glorify or make our high school athletes feel that they have made it. So you're here, you're on top of the world, but once you leave, you get into a system where you're no longer the person. A young man at 18 years old, you have to mix it up with others. And sometimes it's a matter of how you adjust to the program that you're in. It has a lot to do with what your guidelines were, how you were coached, the discipline you had from your parents, from your school, from your coach. It's the makeup of the individual that really dictates if you're going to make it or not. Merle Naughty was going to make it to whatever school she went to because of who she was, the type of individual she was. To say that you're going to make it only here, I will never agree with that because we've seen other athletes make it. It's just that it's about time that our athletes are winning. And so that they're here being coached by our athletes, which is good. But eventually, if it was to change, then what you'll find is, oh, we all should go away. It's just, as I said, the world is just turning, and it's turning in our favor at this moment.
In which areas, in terms of athlete preparation system and maybe development of some particular events, do you see the most room of improvement for Jamaica?
The most improvement in terms of room for improvement. Well, for the sprints, I think it will come down to the mentality, the aggressiveness, and the desire of the individual athlete to be number one. There's one thing in running fast, but it's another thing in maintaining that standard so that you can deal with your opponents, so that you can maintain that lead that you have and decide, I want to be number one for a period of time, but to realize also that when you're at the top, there are going to be 10 guys coming after you every day. You don't get to the top and relax. You have to be aware that there's always someone wanting to knock you off.
We've seen recently success from Jamaican high hurdlers, from throwers. We had a day which was competed really well. Do you think that Jamaica can surprise the world in other events other than 1, 2, and 4?
Yeah, we can. It comes down to coaching. It comes down to equipment, availability of areas. We don't have that many training areas, but we make do with what we have. If an individual decides they want to pursue an event to make it with the proper coaching, the proper mentality, the desire to excel, it can happen. And you have to understand also, in Jamaica, we don't have basketball as a major sport. Okay, football is a major sport here, but even the football players run track. So track and field is an important event. So everybody runs. I think that we also have to look at the fact that we are doing well. We're doing very well, I should say. Other countries eventually are going to start saying, well, if Jamaica can do it, why can't we? So we're setting a target for others to follow, and the rest of the Caribbean looking on. We are aware of that, and that's why we keep pushing, because if they catch us, then we're in trouble. We figure it's easier to maintain that lead and stay in front.
Speaking of the popularity of track and field in Jamaica, it's probably, maybe soccer's a little bit more popular, I've heard, but if it's not, it's definitely second most popular. And athletes like Usain Bolt and Johan Blake are just, heroes here. Was it like that when you were an Olympian and competing too? Or has that changed as track got more popular, as Jamaicans got more dominant?
But we have more athletes. We are able, with the technology now, you can see everything every time. In the past, the meets in Europe were never seen in Jamaica. You only saw results. Now you can actually see all the major competition. So the technology has made sport come alive, and which is excellent, because we want our athletes not just to run fast, win medals, but we want them to be role models. We want them to have set examples on and off the track, and also for young athletes to want to emulate them, so we can maintain that edge that we have on the rest of the world in the sprints.
So when you were competing, just less people knew about it just because it wasn't on, TV as much, and internet and things like that?
I guess they knew about it. I can't answer that. That's somebody else.
Did you feel like you were recognized as, a hero here, or do you feel like it was...
I can't answer that.
Okay, all right, that's
I
fine.
can answer that, because when we were out at the wall, he had a lot of people wanting to speak to him, so...
I'll take that as a yes, then.
He is recognized.
What do you think about the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How important is the junior program to Jamaica's overall success? You see at the Grifton level, I think you won like the 30 straight Grifton championships, and you translate that over into the senior level as well. How does that help you to have such a successful senior program?
It's very important because what it does, it gives our younger athletes an opportunity to shine. It gives them an opportunity to compete, knowing that they're competing for themselves and the country. And fortunately, we do give them the praise, give them the recognition based on what they have accomplished. And with the Carifta, with the World Juniors, with the Under 23, I think the IWF programs help us. Because if you are not able to achieve a goal and be rewarded at an international level, it sort of may stagnate you a little. But when you know that you're the best under 23 athlete in the world, it does give you that confidence that I can continue. And if one athlete is able to accomplish that, the rest of the group keep thinking, well, next time around, I want to do that. So they feed off each other. And I think the programs that are out there is benefiting us so much.
It's safe to say that Usain Bolt has pretty much been one of the most popular track athletes in the world after his rise to stardom. And it's been reported that there's potential that his last games will be in 2016 or a couple of years after that. What do you think Jamaican sprinting will be like after Bolt?
Well, if I knew, then I would just go there and pick a guy and say, that's the guy in the future. I have no idea, and I never try to look beyond what is, because we never know. We never knew there would be a Usain Bolt. So what we do, we keep doing what we can, we improve on what we're doing, and we hope that we can maintain that high standard.
Let's talk about the Jamaica Invitational International Sport.
Well, I can't mention too much about the name, don't we? So go ahead.
But in terms of the preparations and what level we are now in terms of the preparation?
Well, we are on as far as the athletes for the Jamaica Invitational. We have some very outstanding athletes. We have a lot of medalists, both from the Olympics and the World Championships, and we're hoping that we'll have a competition where we can get some more leading time, even though it's early in the season, but we hope that those times can hold on for a little while longer. But most of the athletes that come here enjoy themselves. From they get to the airport, they're met, we make them feel at home, and of course they love the food. But we try to tell them, don't eat too much before you run, wait till afterwards. And I think the hospitality that's shown to them is something that they really enjoy, and we have a lot of athletes coming back each year, providing that they're running well, or jumping well, or throwing well. So we always look forward to it, and we know when they leave, they're happy that they came, and it makes us feel very good.
What about the come-off games? Can I ask about the come-off games? Obviously special memories for you, the come-off games. Is it a shame to think that some of the top athletes don't compete here from Jamaica? Would you like to see them running?
Well, from my knowledge, there are going to be a lot of Jamaican top athletes here this time around. So I think it's going to be a different light, compared to the past where you get a few. I think I can't confirm, but I hear that there are going to be quite a few top athletes at the Commonwealth Games this year, next year, this year.
Yeah, this year.
I mean,
Time flies in Glasgow.
Would you encourage them to compete in the come-off games?
Well, that's their coaches, their managers, but from my experience, that's where I started. And so I've always enjoyed it. I've always looked back knowing that I survived the cold weather in Scotland and it didn't bother me. But then when I got wiser, I would complain. But it's an experience that I would never forget, and meeting friends there. I still know people from the Commonwealth Games, and I'm sure that this one will be a very memorable one.
How excited are you for this year's World Relay Championships in the Bahamas? And did you kind of wish that was something they had when you were competing as well?
Nothing happens before its time. I think it's good that they're having it. It's something that is going to be different. And we hope that you guys will put the word out there that it's going to be more fun, it's going to be more records. Jamaica is going to break the 4x2 world record. You know, put that out there. In the men.
What can you run 100 meters right now?
What can I run 100 meters in right now? Okay, what we'll do, we'll get the camera, we'll go outside, and when I start, don't turn the camera on for about 5 seconds. No, I just keep in shape right now to stay healthy. It's something that I've always done, I enjoy, and I have no wish to compete because when you're young, you get a little injury. It takes a week. When you're older, you get an injury. It takes a year. So I think I can enjoy watching and doing my little exercise and running from time to time just to stay healthy, and I'm enjoying that.
How does champs compare now to when you used to run here?
Oh, it's like night and day. Now it's more competitive. There's no one dominant school, and they've combined it. Before it was just boys champs, girls champs, and the combination has made big difference. And I think the schools come out to support each other, and it's noisy, as you can tell, but it's fun.
So the crowds weren't it wasn't as big an occasion?
No, it wasn't as big as it is now. Because yeah, boys and girls, so you only had the boys' school here. And only the top schools would get the large support. Now you have so many outstanding athletes from different schools that, you know, you get so many athletes in here, and maybe that's why we need a new stadium, but we don't have the money. We need to raise some money to renovate or get a new stadium, because I think we're going to outgrow the stadium pretty soon.
Any particular event you're really excited for, and what team are you pulling for, or if you have?
No, when I'm here for boys and girls dance, I just enjoy watching the different athletes. Even the athletes that don't make the final, I'm able to look at some and realize, maybe you could have gone a little faster if you had worked on your arms. I critique in my mind what they're doing, because that's just me, you know. If I'm not here just to see them run down the track, I observe what's going on. So it keeps me alert.
Do you do any coaching yourself? I mean, you sound like
No, I'm a little bit too busy traveling, but eventually I may get back into it and make a few challenges too. Because if I get back into it, I want to go to the top.
You keep in touch with your past competitors?
I see them often, yes. And we...
Mr. Crawford in particular?
Yeah. And we never talk about track so much, because I think in the past, we enjoyed the friendship whereby there was no disagreement or jealousy among us. It was a lot of fun, but it was some serious fun when the gun went. And I think that has made that bond so great. You know, like, I remember I saw Valerie Borzap, and he said, "Oh, Donald, look at you doing skinny ship." I said, "Well, Valerie, you need to get like me." And I see Johnny Denny's coming down.
So, sorry, you mentioned a bit about coaching. You've been in Asia, particularly at some coaching stints, also with Chris Jackson.
Yeah.
What was those experiences like for coaching experience?
Coaching experience was a lot of fun. I can be a hard coach, but you never know I'm a hard coach. I believe in maintaining certain discipline as far as an athlete who is preparing themselves to be a world-class athlete. But at the same time, I never push an athlete to a point where I don't think they can make it. The beauty about coaching for me is seeing an athlete progress, seeing them learn the different aspects of what you're trying to pass on to them, seeing the changes, and also working with them mentally, because you have to bear in mind, you can have 4 talented athletes all running around the same time. Over a period of rounds, it usually is the one who has that mental ability to deal with the pressure, to be competitive, and to win. You wonder sometimes why, how come he didn't win? It's sometimes the practice of not thinking that you can win. I believe that most athletes, before they actually compete, have a good idea of what kind of shape they're in, what they should be doing, what position they should make. If you're in 10-1 shape and you're running against 4 guys running 9-9, come on, you're not going to win. So that's why it's important to prepare yourself, get to a certain level, and do the best that you can. I had a very poor start, unfortunately. But I knew, okay, don't fool yourself. That person is going to get to 60 before you. Don't make mistakes. The key was to get close enough each time so when you make your move, you could go. And it's the same thing. If a guy is going to run 10-1 and get away from you, but you can run 9-9, don't change anything. Do what you need to do. And that's my philosophy. That's one of the things that I work on with coaching, is what you can do and how you go about doing it.
How long have you been out of coaching? And I mentioned it's something maybe get into.
Quite a while. I think before Beijing I was in, before the Olympics in Beijing, I was in Beijing for 6 weeks once, and I think for a month after, working and advising their sprinters and coaches. But I tend to do that with different countries. I was in Thailand in 2010, working with their athletes, and it's something that I enjoy doing, because I think if you can spread the knowledge, it only helps the program of athletics worldwide, because it's more fun and more satisfaction seeing an athlete from a country not making it but performing well. And I think that's something that all of us as individuals, and in the IAAF, that's why they try to encourage even one athlete per. But if that one athlete goes, do well, 10 years later, we're going to see somebody from that country doing much better.
You think that you're considering going back into coaching maybe down the road? If you could you give us an indication?
No, I'll do it quietly, because I'm not going to do it because I want the world to know I'm doing it. I will do it because I decided at that time, okay, I'm going to help a program, or I'm going to help some individuals, and I will let their action speak for itself. It will not be for me, it will be for them.